The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
12 p.m.
It's Wednesday, June 12, 2024. Welcome to CVM News at noon. I'm Curlin Brown. Now, the Court of Appeal hearings enters day 3. The court is to determine whether or not Vybz Kartel and 3 other co-accused should be retried for the alleged murder of Clive Lizard Williams in 2011. The panel, comprising Justices Marva MacDonald Bishop, Paulette Williams and David Fraser, are expected to hear additional substantive arguments again today. Now, for some insight into what took place in court this morning, we are joined by our reporter Natalia Clark, who is on location. Natalia, good afternoon.
Hi, Caroline. Good afternoon. So I'm here in downtown Kingston at the Court of Appeal, where so far we've heard from 3 attorneys today: Isaac Buchanan, Alessandra Labige, and Iqbal Shivera. Now, to dive into Isaac Buchanan's presentation, he's representing Sean Storm Campbell and Adija Vybz Kartel Palmer. He started his presentation by saying context matters. Starting his presentation, he delved into the prosecution's position that they are vying for a retrial on the grounds that their evidence is strong. Now, Buchanan, targeting that, brought up 2 points, saying that the prosecution's evidence is largely surrounded or largely comprised of their sole witness, which would be Lamar Chow, and the technological evidence. Now, diving into that, Isaac Buchanan would say that regarding the technological evidence, there is some argument that that should not be admissible in court based on how the evidence was obtained, and the fact that there are some details around that being tampered with. Regarding the witness, which is Lamar Chow, the sole witness in the case, you would have argued that the witness in his testimonies during the previous trial would have recorded some inconsistencies, and a retrial would then allow him to iron out those details and come again, which would put the defense at a disadvantage. Now, Mr. Buchanan, again representing Vybz Kartel and Sean Storm Campbell, said that they have actually lost one of their key witnesses, which is a handwriting expert who actually died. That witness, he said, was one of the only persons to have seen the original statement submitted in the trial, and those statements have since been lost during the original trial. So that also, they say, put them at a disadvantage. Now, diving down into his presentation, Mr. Buchanan also touched on the famed entertainer's health. In addition to Vybz Kartel Graves' disease, he said the entertainer's heart function has been reduced by about 50%, and he cited a private physician when he spoke about this. He also referenced a report from a psychologist that said the entertainer is suffering from anxiety, and noted the emotional toll that a retrial would have on him. He also mentioned the financial viability of his clients going through another retrial. In Kartel's case, he said that he has 17 dependents, and going through a whole another trial would be basically devastating on his pocket. We also heard from Iqbal Shivera, who is representing Kyra Jones, and notably, Jones, in his affidavit, which was quoted by Shivera, said that the cost so far since the 2014 trial and all the appeals since then amounted to about 70 million. And to quote, he said he had been able to finance his defense based on the mercy of God and the help of one of the co-accused. We heard from Alessandra Labige, and after the break, which is basically now, court resumed at 11:55. We are going to be hearing from attorney John Clark, who spoke yesterday, and then we're expected to hear from the prosecution.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Natalia Clark there reporting, and of course we await our full report later on in News at 7. In other news now, Jamaica's first female House Speaker, Violet Neilson, has died. During Tuesday's sitting of Parliament, current Speaker Juliet Holness announced the news moments before adjournment. Now, Ms. Neilson served in the House of Representatives from 1997 to 2003. The opposition leader Mark Golding shared a tweet expressing she was a beacon of strength and a true servant of the people. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for East Central Kingston also chimed in and shared the sentiment of her dignity, her decency and her respect for all. Mrs. Neilson served as Member of Parliament for St. James East from 1989 to 1997 under the P.J. Patterson administration. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Jang announced a 60-day extension of the Zones of Special Operations ZOSO in 4 parishes. The extension takes effect in St. James, Westmoreland, Kingston and St. Andrew. It will affect the communities of Denham Town, Parade Gardens, August Town, Greenwich Town, Mount Salem in St. James and Savannah Lamar. The announcement was made at the sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Now, some public passenger vehicle operators took action on Monday and Tuesday for what they describe as police injustice towards them. As scheduled on Tuesday, the government sat with stakeholders to review the demerit point system. Speaking on Lead Story on Tuesday, Transport Authority Managing Director Ralston Smith.
Cautions were wide-ranging. We examined a list of offences under the Road Traffic Act and its supporting regulation. We looked at the fines, the penalties, and of course the demerit points, which was of course one of the contentious points for the public transport operators. Just to say that the minister himself is sufficiently seized of the issues as they permeate the public passenger transport space. The Transport Authority, having been brought into the loop of the things, we sought to engage the operators themselves. So all these events were pre-planned just before the demonstration. I want to make it abundantly clear that I believe there is some semblance of miscommunication, misconception, and misrepresentation of the facts as they were that would have accounted for the protest action yesterday. Regrettably, as you have heard the minister stated on many different forums, nobody benefited at the end of the day. And the minister's approach is 3 C's: communication, consensus, and of course, collaboration. So we want to ensure that we engage the stakeholders and that we can come to common ground on certain issues and points affecting their overall operations.
Now, while Jamaica is surrounded by water, our marine life is often ignored. Speaking earlier on Sunrise, director at the Iraqabessa Marine Trust, Travis Graham, says there needs to be more focus placed on marine care.
It's absolutely important because, Jamaica is an island. We're a small island developing state. We're surrounded by water. Even though 75% of Jamaicans cannot swim, a lot of Jamaicans do enjoy the ocean. Yeah. And a part of why the ocean is so important is because of the vast marine life that makes up the ecosystem of the ocean. So we do depend on it. Jamaicans love fish. And if we don't have a vibrant coral reef landscape across the island, then we won't have all of that fish to enjoy. Also, tourism, which is one of the major contributors to our sector, they say 3 out of every 4 tourists submerge themselves in our oceans. So it is important that we do have a healthy marine space, and there's so much livelihoods, recreation, and marine life that's there to protect. Just because of human activity, which contributes to about 50% of the degradation of our coral reefs, it is important that they are vanguards of the ocean. Not just myself, my incredible team, the many fish sanctuaries across Jamaica to protect this precious resource that we have.
Do stay with us. CVM News at Noon continues right after this.
your safety seriously, always wear your seatbelt. A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
SuperMed family of pharmacies, your trusted partner in health and wellness for over 30 years. With 8 convenient pharmacies across Eastern Jamaica. SuperMed Mall Pharmacy, SuperMed New Kingston, SuperMed Pepine, SuperMed Port Antonio Pharmacies 1 and 2, Claire's St. Mary, Lloyd's St. Thomas, and a convenient drive-through at our Hughenden location where you can get your medication without leaving your car. We're dedicated to providing you with the highest level of care. Experience the difference with SuperMed family of pharmacies. Super happy, super healthy.
And you go down and have a good day. Blessing. SuperMed.
Hey, how was school?
It was really good, but I'm really hungry. Can we get some juicy patties?
Sure we can. I never see a boil up patty like you.
Hey son, you good?
No, Dad, I'm starving. Can we get some juicy patties?
Celebrating over 40 years of everyday moments.
Welcome back to CVM News at noon. On a matter that's close to home, the Press Association of Jamaica, the PAJ, is condemning the threatening responses of the public after a report surfaced on illegal drag racing from an undercover operation. Now, in a release on Tuesday, the PAJ called the threats an attack on press freedom and advised journalists not to yield to intimidation. Joining us now for our discussion segment are journalist and educator Nadine McLeod and broadcaster and former journalism lecturer Faye Ellington. Good afternoon, ladies.
Thank you for having me.
Caroline.
Wow. First, what is your reaction to this latest incident involving this undercover operation? I want to start with you, Faye.
I want to make 3 points. One is that in this society, everybody, or I shouldn't say that, many people believe it's okay to be wrong and strong. My second point is that journalists have a job to do. And in this case, that is what the reporter Giovanni Dennis was doing. My third point is, I know that drag racing is not new in that particular area or areas across Jamaica. And perhaps a government or associations need to do something to provide some more spaces for that. But we know that people don't follow rules and are pretty indisciplined, so they might just create their own spaces anyway. And I did say 3, but the fourth one is, and what is going to happen when a vehicle or vehicles plunge into the crowd and maybe a dozen or more people are killed?
Nadine?
Thank you. Yes, I agree with Auntie Faye. This is something that is illegal. I was outraged, but it's nothing new. Many people know that it has been happening for quite a while. It's unfortunate and troubling that a journalist could be threatened for a story, especially in light that of the fact that Jamaica is a democratic country, and we have always had a good standing on the World Press Freedom Index. 24 out of 100, moving up 8 points this year. So the question is, where are we going? I mean, whose toes were stepped on in this particular story? Who was affected by this report? Which part of what social status was affected to cause such such an outrage to cause such threats from people about something that is one, illegal, and something that we all, many people, I wouldn't say we all, that many people know has been going on for quite a while, and many people are upset about it.
You know,
what is happening?
Right. So, you know, there are many aspiring journalists. What do we say to them now? They would love to tap into investigative journalism because, you know, there have been calls for that, you know, we want more of that. What do we say to them?
Now, what we need to say is both at the institutional level where they learn the craft, where they learn the profession, is that you have to be fearless when you're doing your work, but you have to be careful as well. We wouldn't want people to believe that because they're going to be threatened, they shouldn't proceed and dig and investigate stories. But the media houses, I want to say to management that they need to put things in place to protect the reporters when they do certain kinds of work. And so when the reporter is going out to do certain kinds of work, they need to have that protection, physical protection, but also insurance. And when the work is aired and this kind of backlash occurs, they need to protect the reporter again and the media house because, you know, we're living in a strange world. And we're not unaccustomed to hearing the news of reporters being attacked in other countries. And I want to just also mention the role of social media and galvanizing the backlash and pointing out some of the things they said. You know, it makes you very concerned because it points to other spaces and places who could be hurt.
Nadine, you've had your fair share. You've been out there only recently enough, I dare say. How did anything of the sort affect you if you've had experiences like that? Your safety, for example?
Well, I've covered the Tivoli Gardens incursion. I remember that, and we were threatened. And the media house at the time put in place things. We were sent home with security guards to ensure that we got home safely. And there were other measures that were put in place at that time. So I want to encourage, you see, journalism is not for the fraidy people. It is an occupation where you have to have a very strong heart, especially in Jamaica, because we know that Jamaican people like to talk, right? Sometimes it comes with action, other times it doesn't come with action. So I want to encourage young journalists and aspiring journalists to not be daunted by these threats. When press freedom goes, human rights go, right? When there's no press freedom, there is no democracy. And it leads to things like people can't vote. It leads to things like people can't call out injustices. So we have to be careful as Jamaicans about what we get upset about and what we threaten about and things like that. Because in the long run, it can be very detrimental. So to young journalists, this is just a part of the course. I'm not saying do not take care. I'm not saying do not be careful, do not look at your surroundings and stuff like that. But this is a part of the course, and you can't be afraid. You can't be jittery because you're threatened. Just take care, and as Auntie Faye said, the media houses should put things in place to protect their workers.
Thanks, Go ahead, Fitch. I wanted you to...
We're just wrong and strong in this society. We are wrong, but we're strong. And you're going to attack the people